Welcome to the Creative Guitarist Podcast. I'm Daniel Nistico, and I'm the founder of the Creative Classical Guitarist, which is an online school where we learn the art of creativity, composing, arranging and improvising. We've got a wonderful community of guitarists who are composing new works every day just about, and we've published many pieces. I've recorded hundreds of pieces that have been written in the past 2 or 3 years. So it's a great privilege to do that and to see what happens when guitarists embrace creativity. I want to start this podcast because I feel like there is a bit of a gap to fill. I see some of the content out there, this wonderful material out there if you want to learn how to practice and learn how to improve your technique, your right hand, your tremolo, your nails, fingernails, or your picking action, or your left hand stretching, all those things, which is all great. It's all good. You know, we definitely need that, but I want to add a bit of balance. I think we also need, harmony and composing and improvising and arranging and, how do we construct chords, or how do we voice chords on the guitar? All sorts of these types of questions. I think it can help bring a lot more fulfillment to your music making on the guitar. So I hope this podcast will be one piece of the puzzle to help encourage you. Today I wanted to cover a method book. Method books are an old love of mine. Shortly after finishing my Doctor of Music degree up in Rochester, New York, I started to get really into looking at method books from the 18th and 19th centuries. And I found many. I found hundreds of them in Spanish, Italian, French, German, primarily some English as well, from London. And I came across just stacks and stacks of pages, many, like hundreds of pages of really interesting exercises, like what I would think jazz guitarists of today practice. I think those early method books gave us a bit more of a holistic, all-encompassing program to learn from. So the method book I want to look at today is by Mario Rodriguez Arenas. It's in 7 volumes. It was published in 1923, and the author was an Argentine guitarist and teacher. His work was based on the school of Francisco Tarrega. It's really important. Francisco Tarrega is probably one of the main figures of guitar, whether you play classical or whatever style of guitar you play, because Francisco Tarrega worked with Antonio Torres, and they kind of standardized a lot of the techniques and the features and dimensions of the instrument and the construction of the instrument. A lot of those things were standardized during that time, around the late 1800s. So there are 7 volumes to this method book, and each volume is intended to be taken over the course of 1 year. So that's a 7-year program, 7-year program. Wow. If you do a Bachelor of Music, that's 3 or 4 years, and then you do your master's degree, that's another 1 or 2. So it's almost the equivalent of getting a master's degree, really. And that's what these books were actually intended for, to take you from a beginner to a professor level, like a professional professor, someone who can perform and teach others. So that's what these method books were intended for. So what I really love about method books is that it gives you a complete program. So this is one of the things, it's really easy to hop around from different YouTube videos or on social media, and you see all these great lessons here and there, and you're kind of hopping around. And I didn't kind of learn that way myself, because when I was younger, that social media and YouTube weren't such a big thing, so I wasn't hopping around a lot, and but I can see the temptation. And while it's in many ways a blessing, it's a great thing that we've got all this great material to learn from, it can also be a distraction. So one of my recommendations for you if you're learning an instrument, whatever instrument it is to try and find a program and stick to it and focus on it, because nothing beats just like focused energy on a program. Like try to limit down the number of pieces you're playing or the number of songs you're learning. Try to limit down the number of exercises you're practicing. This is so that you can master those things. And this is what I love about the method books. They give you a really nice balance, a mixture of things, technical exercises, harmony exercises so that you're learning harmony, pieces to practice, studies, like reading exercises, all these different things. So that's what we're going to look at in this method book by Arines. So here it is. This is the first volume. I will point out this is a public domain method book now, so you can download this for free. That's another really neat thing about these method books. One of the disadvantages is that it's in Spanish, so I can't read a lot of this. What I would do is use Google Translate if you wanted to translate anything. But we can see here that it starts off with the principal elements of music. I know enough English to make the connection, right? Principios elementales de música, right? Principal elements of music. It's one of the tricks about, the Latin-based languages, that a lot of them actually use a lot of words that are similar to English. So the music. Music is an art that combines sound, form, and melody and harmony. I think that's what that first sentence is saying. So he talks about sound as in notes, like little notes of a scale, natural, diatonic, reading notes on the page. Now this, you might already be like, I don't want to read notes. Why do I need to read notes when everything's available in tablature, or we have technology to do, so we can avoid reading notes? But to me, reading music, it's not necessary. I would never say it's necessary. But I do say, like, well, what if you couldn't read English and you're an English speaker? How would that make you, like, what limitations would that give you? So what advantages does being able to read in your native language give you? Similar advantages are given to you if you can read music. So that's all I'll say. I definitely think, I'm all for everything. I think tabs are good, playing by ear is good, but I think reading's good too. So reading, we get clefs. We only use the treble clef in guitar playing, so you don't have to worry about the other clefs unless you need to write for an orchestra or something like that. We have notes with these are called ledger lines. So ledger lines are the lines above and below the musical stave. So we have the ledger lines above, going up to the highest note, the C or B, this one, the 19th fret, and down to the lowest note. Notice he's going all the way down to D, which is like a drop. We do a drop D there. Okay, so that's if you need a bit of a reference for those ledger lines, that you can use that. Then we talk about sharps and flats. We talk about rhythm here. So we have, or what we call in America, we call these whole notes. In England, in the UK, and in Australia, we call it a semibreve. And then here he calls this a redonda, and then a la blanca, a white note. So that's a half note or a a minim. And then la negra, a black note. That's a crotchet or quarter note. And then we have a quaver or an eighth note, and so on. And we've got the corresponding rests. So this is a really great, if you're not used to reading music, this is a really handy reference. So I don't want to go through everything in too much detail here, but then he talks about dotted notes, adding the dot, adding a double dot, irregular rhythm, so triplets, for example, there, or if you have groups of 6, groups of 5, groups of 7, groups of 11, and the equivalent, so you can actually fit 5 16th notes into one quarter note, for example. The tie, It's another important one. You'll probably rarely see a tie that long, but you do see ties a lot. Really important to observe ties. Ligado meaning like slurring, or hammer-ons and hammer-offs. Syncopations, which is when we tie notes and create. Syncopation has a lot to do with rhythm. It's when we emphasize the weak beats and we de-emphasize the strong beats. So here, for example, we're de-emphasizing the first beat and emphasizing the second beat, and emphasizing the fourth beat and de-emphasizing the first beat again. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that's essentially what a syncopation is. Really important to know that. And what else do we get? Some different words about tempo and meter here. So this is quite a common thing, which I think is very helpful, learning how to conduct. So learning how to conduct in 2, 1, 2, just down, up, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think it's helpful because, conducting gives you a physical relationship with the beat. And there's actually something really nice. We call the first beat of a bar the down beat, and if you ever wonder why, it's because we conduct that down with our hand usually, and then the up beat are the weaker beats. There's a kind of a lift to the weak beat. There's a heaviness to the strong beats and a lightness to the weak beats. 1, 2, 1, 2. And then when we have 3, it's down, right, up, down, right, up. When we have 4, it's down, left, right, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when we have 6, 8, it's actually in 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9, 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 12, 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I could talk a lot about accentuation and meter and things. There's a lot of detail here in this method book. This is what I mean by, when you have a program and you stick to it and it's all encompassing, it's easy to hop, like you could probably go on YouTube or, on Google and like search these individual elements, these individual aspects of music, rhythm, dotted notes, conducting, etc. So you could use it as a supplement, but you probably won't have the ability to lay it out in a systematized, progressive way that walks you through and ensures that you don't leave any stone unturned. That's one of the traps with this kind of hopping around style of learning. So you might learn something, and then all of the foundations behind it, you'll leave those behind, and then you don't really learn. It's kind of shaky learning. You're on shaky ground, and then you'll constantly feel like that. But if you learn in a systematized, grounded way from the ground up, like this, you will have a strong foundation, and that's really it's really important. And then you can always use the resources out there as a supplement. So now you could go to YouTube and search, or go all the way back to like clefs. What are the different clefs? What do they mean? Supplement that. Supplement the musical stave and ledger lines. How are there any tricks that people have for that? Sharps and flats, different rhythms, dots and double dots. All these things that we've covered so far, you can supplement them. Okay, so we go from conducting to some various symbols here. So this is if you've got empty bars. Then we talk about ornamentation. So there are a few different types of ornaments here. Gruppetto, mordent, trill, some musical abbreviations, the scale, different intervals and things like that. Harmonics, time words. So you might see at the start of a piece of music, it's very often in Italian, where you'll see words like andante and allegro and largo and things like that. And what do those mean? I think today I would probably recommend that you do actually do your own research as to what these words mean, because there can be this is what the advantage of technology is, that there's a whole history behind a lot of these terms, so it can be really good to get a broader definition. Okay, we get some more symbols, the fermata, signs of accentuation, so the staccato dots, and we have these like emphasis dots here. We've got accents, we've got chord rolls, we've got terms for accentuation, or also dynamics here, and other symbols, other dynamics there, crescendo, decrescendo, and so on. Character, the character of a piece, really important. If this is not marked, it's really important to, I think, find for yourself what the character of a piece is. If you're playing, for example, a prelude or a study or something, and it doesn't give you an indication of what the character is, very helpful to come up with what the character is. So what we have here are lessons of solfeo, otherwise known as solfege, of various types applied to the guitar. Now this is an incredibly valuable resource, because guitarists are renowned, and I used to be one of these types. We are renowned for being terrible at reading rhythm. Part of the reason for that is because we don't get a training in it. We don't actually break it down to a really basic level like we do with other things, like our technique. When we start learning the guitar, we learn very, very basic things. We break it down. It's all broken down into categories, and you systematically progress. So we can do the same thing with rhythm. So we start with whole notes here, and this is the most beautiful thing about this, is we can play it on the guitar. It's not something external over there. It's directly applicable to the guitar. So we can do our whole notes, do our semi-breves, we can do our minims, our half notes, each one's worth 2 beats. We can do our crotchets or quarter notes. We can do a mixture of whole notes and whole note rests. We can do a mixture of whole notes and half note rests. We can do a mixture of quarter notes and quarter note rests, and we just keep building up from the ground up gradually, right? We'll imagine your understanding of rhythm. If you just play these in time, and you're able to play these exercises and have an understanding, a good grasp of these different rhythms, then we go to quavers and crotchets, eighth and quarter, quarter notes and eighth notes and eighth. Now, I'm originally from Australia, so it's hard for me to convert sometimes. I'm used to saying quaver and quaver rest. Okay, quaver and quaver rest. Dotted minim, dotted half note and crotchet. Dotted, crotchet and quaver. Dotted, quaver and semi-quaver. Double dotted crotchet. Then we have just a mixture of what we've learned. So now we have half notes and whole notes, half notes and quarter notes and half notes, quarter notes and half notes again, quarter notes and half notes again, quarter notes and eighth notes, and on we go. How good is that? It's broken down for you. It's all based on the key of C major in the first position. It's relatively easy to play. It gives you the fingerings and the string numbers. So even if you're a bit shaky at reading, hopefully it's simple enough for you to also be a good reading exercise too. Then we get the ties here. Some ties, examples of dotted notes versus tied notes. Syncopations here. So using the ties to create weak downbeats, or weak to de-emphasize the strong beats. Then we go into 3/4 time. 3/4 time. So all of these different things now applied to 3/4 time. And now we get what's called cut common time. So the distinction between that is where we feel it in two. We count it in two instead of four. So we actually count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So if you don't understand that, you're missing a vitally, crucially important aspect of the interpretation of the rhythm. And then we get the same thing with half notes. I apologize, I'm throwing out randomly. It's either the US system or the UK system, so sorry if it's hard to follow that. And then crotchets with the cut common time. Then we go to 2/4 time. So we started in 4/4 times, also called common time, because it tends to be the most common one. Then we went to 3/4 time. Then we did cut time. Now we're doing 2/4. So it's slightly different distinction there. But again, no stone will be left unturned. So 2/4 time, various rhythms. And then we go into what's called compound time, 3/8. 3/8, that looks like a 3, but it's actually, you see that there? That's actually an 8 there. 3/8 time. Compound time is when we divide the beat into threes. So in simple time, if you've got a 4 in the time signature or a 2, but much more often would be a 4, so 2/4 or 3/4 or 4/4, that's called simple time because the beat is divided into twos, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in compound time the beat is divided into 3. In this case it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we get some examples in 3/8 and then in 6/8, so that's where we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're dividing the beat 2 groups of 3 in 6/8, and then in 9/8 it's 3 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In 12/8 it's 4 groups of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, then we get just a bit of a mixture of things now. So combining crotchets, quavers and semiquavers. So that's all we get. It's like a very limited number of rhythms. Very helpful lesson for quavers and semiquavers. A lesson for tresillos, triplets. We get triplets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. A lesson in cecilios, sextuplets, a group of 6. So there we go, lesson for those. Then we get basically a summary of many of the things that have been covered already. So there's these short little reading exercises that cover crotchets and quavers and whole notes and half notes, or in common time, in 4/4 time, and then various different rhythms. And then we go to 2/4 time, then we go to cut time, then we go to 3/4 with usually double dotted notes. And we change key signature here, so we're getting some different examples now. We get some triplets here, so covered a lot of bases. So that is the first, what I would call the first main practical portion of this method book. I believe that every guitar player should study this, because playing rhythmically and understanding rhythm, whether for reading purposes or for playing in an ensemble or a group, whatever reason it is, or for composing and improvising and arranging, reading rhythm is super important, or understanding rhythm. Having a thorough understanding of rhythm from the foundations up is super important. And if you can play through these 24 exercises and all of the previous looks like there are 41 plus 24, right? What's that, 65 exercises. 65 exercises, they're relatively short. After 65 exercises, you will have a thorough understanding, practical understanding of rhythm, of the main time signatures, the main types of rhythms, dotted notes, double dotted notes, triplets, and so on. rests as well. So syncopation, ties, very, very good program. Why this isn't taught normally now, I don't know. I don't know why this is not just a mainstream part. Like this should be in any method book you play for guitar. I believe this kind of, at least a little bit of this should be incorporated to help you understand the foundations of rhythm. Okay? So that's the first main practical part of the method book. Now we go to what he calls the first part. After all that, then we're in the first part. So he talks about things like the position of the instrument, the left hand, the right hand. We're going. So earlier in the book, it was the rudiments of music, like universal music, generally. These are now the rudiments of music as it relates to the guitar. So let me scroll ahead here. So these are the open strings, for example. This is the lowest and the highest note, typically the bottom E, which is very flat right now. The bottom E to the high B there. Oh, sometimes that comes out pretty dull, but sometimes it's nice, huh? Then we have, what have we got here? Some, going into like intervals a little bit. We get a bit of a fretboard chart kind of thing here. So on the guitar, you can play the same note in different places, and this chart actually shows you how to do that. Can I rotate this thing? Rotate, there we go, that's a bit better. So you don't have to turn your head. Okay, so this E here, this sixth string open, can only be played in one place. We can't play that anywhere else. But if we want to play this F here, which typically is the first fret of the first string, we can play that on the first string, first fret, or the second string, fifth fret. Is that right? No, that's E. F, sixth fret. So we're in this table here. So second string, sixth fret should be an F. Sounds about right. And then the third string, 10th fret should be an F. Sounds about right. And then the fourth string, 15th fret, 12, 13, 14, 15, should be an F as well. Sounds right. That's pretty cool. So this is sometimes called an equisonant. Like distance equisonant. So it's like, I don't know exactly how to explain it. I'm not much of a scientist, but it's basically, on the guitar, it's the sort of like the study of how you can play the same notes in different places on the instrument. They're exactly the same notes too. They're not like different octaves. On the guitar, we're talking exactly the same note you can play in different places. This chart could deserve a whole podcast on its own just to explore. Okay, then we get some reading lessons here. So we've got the open strings, and by now you should be very good at playing these rhythms, right? The whole notes, the semi-breeze, 4 beats, and the half notes, the minims, 2 beats, and the crotchets or the quarter notes, 1 beat. And we'll just get a nice mix, building it up very gradually, starting with open strings. What are some, we've got the right hand fingerings as well, using the index in the middle. So if you're new to finger picking, that could be a really good start. This could be really good. If you're new to reading, really good start. If you're an intermediate player, this is a really good opportunity to go back to the foundations and check for any patchy ground that, lies from the past. What have you skipped over? Or what do we need to review again to get our playing back to a high level again, or up to the next level. Sometimes you have to go backwards in order to go forwards, right? You have to go back to the foundations in order to advance and progress. So keep that in mind. So it's very important to always go back to the foundations, occasionally. So we're alternating our fingers, get a beautiful tone. We want to count that. We want to make sure our movements are good, our posture is good, position of the right hand and all that. I don't want to play through every exercise and talk about every exercise because that'll take hours. So I'm just giving you an overview of the types of things you could work on. Okay, so we just continue. So then we're going to the sixth string. We're doing E, F, G. This is where a lot of method books today start. They start here. They might give you some information about the rudiments as well, and then they'll typically start here, and we won't get the rhythmic foundations that we had earlier. So we've got that, and then we're breaking it down into different rhythms: whole notes, half notes, quarter notes. And then we go to the fifth string: whole notes, half notes, quarter notes. And the fourth string: whole notes, half notes, quarter notes. And third string, same thing. Second string, same thing. And then it looks like a mixture of the strings. Great reading exercise there. So a summary of all of those things. And then we get a scale diatonic. The diatonic scale means part of a diatonic relates to major or minor. That's when you hear the word diatonic. So diatonic, and chromatic means chroma means color, but chromatic means moving by semitone or moving by half steps, or on the guitar that's moving one fret at a time. So we have a diatonic scale, and that's all the notes in the first position you can play diatonically in the key of C, and then the chromatic scale, all the notes you can play chromatically in the first position, from E to A flat. So if I do that quickly. Just to summarize, that's what that is, the chromatic. And then we just keep going, we keep having this is what I like. The pacing of these method books is nice and gentle. You review, you establish the foundations, keep repeating them before you move on too soon. Now we're starting to get some melodies here. This is by Aguado. So this is now we're getting a melody. So not just a scale, a melody in C major, another melody in C major. And this is where that foundation in, reading pitches. So we've done that, from this first part of the method book here. And then earlier on in the method book, reading rhythms. You should be well equipped, well armed, well prepared for these pieces now, for these melodies. And then jumping around, the strings a bit more, different time signatures, different types of rhythms. Here is a beautiful lesson from Napoleon Cost. Another one. How about I play one of them? I'll play this one, number 15. It's quite challenging because notice how the top line, we have the rest, sustain, the bass, rest, the top, rest, sustain, rest, sustain, play, rest, sustain, play, rest. Something that seems really simple on the surface is actually, I don't want to talk myself up too much. I'm a pretty accomplished player, right? I've played a lot of repertoire. I've studied music for many years, and I performed, and I just started at school and everything. And I find that quite challenging. So, these foundations can seem really, really basic on the surface, but when you dig deeper, there are things in here that can really train us well. So there's that. Then we have another lesson that's in 3/4 time, and another one, some words about barring and rolling chords there, some arpeggios by Carulli, and then we get some more pieces. Notice how the pieces are starting to advance a bit now. We get two parts. We had a bass and a melody, so the pieces are advancing. and getting, a bit more complex. Then we start to get our first, we've reached a kind of new part of the method book now. We see a scale in Do major, C major. So C major scale, we get an exercise in C major, and then we get some pieces in the key of C major. So this is our standard method book format. If you've studied Carcassi's method for guitar, for example, one of the more popular ones, you'll find this is the main layout. This is the main portion of the method book. So we get pieces, a beautiful set of pieces here to play. Quite a lot. And then we go to the key of G major, and it's the same format. And this is basically going to take us through to the end of the method book. And then after G major, we'll get D major and so on. So we just get that format: scale, exercise, pieces. So you start to get familiar with different keys and the peculiarities of those keys. Playing in D major is a very different experience to playing in C major or G major. Okay, and then we get the next part of the method book. It talks about harmonics, talks about ligados or slurs, talks about slides. Then we get some lovely studies incorporating those, and then we get some more keys, and eventually we're going to get to our minor keys now. So we're looking at major keys, and now we go to some minor keys. A minor, exercise in A minor, and we get a piece. So I'll play a little bit of this piece for you. That slide's interesting. Beautiful piece, huh? Yeah, very nice. A piece by Carulli in A minor. The pieces, you can see the pieces are starting to advance as well as we get further to the end of this first book of the 7-part method book. E minor. What have we got here in E minor? Whoa. I have to zoom into that note. Is that an F sharp or an A sharp? It is an A sharp. Oh. Very nice little chord study there. F major. Beautiful piece by Carulli, D minor. And I think that is about the end. We get a nice bunch of pieces, and then we get some more pieces to conclude the method book, and there we go. That should lead us to the end. We get some nice exercises here for the independence of the hands. It's the first one, the second one. Positioning, stretching, strength, right hand. Yeah, very good exercises to finish there. So that's book 1 of our method book for today by Arinas. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and please do let me know in the comments if you've got any particular topics you'd like me to cover. I don't know what topic I'm going to do next, so I'd appreciate some comments to help know what direction to go in, but otherwise I will find a topic, and hopefully you'll find it helpful and interesting and relevant and useful. And there is a link to download this method book in the video description. It's public domain. Download all of them if you like. I highly recommend going through it, whether you are a beginner an intermediate or advanced player, there's benefits for everyone. You go through the whole program, leave no stone unturned. We are going through this method book on the creative classical guitarist. We're going through this every 2 weeks in live sessions. The live sessions are great. There's no mucking around. We just play the examples, and I'm there to just coach and guide. The members are just playing through examples. In our case, for the first few months, we're just going to be looking at rhythms. So we're just playing rhythms, and I'm there to just coach and instruct and help and guide with that. So if you'd like to join us, you can join the Creative Classical Guitarist. There are 3 different membership plans. One has live events included and one doesn't. So if you want to just like self-study, watch recordings and watch videos, that kind of thing, you can subscribe for the light membership. But the pro membership includes all of our live sessions. We have master classes, we have theory workshops, we have open mics, we have a whole range of really fun live events, and the magic really happens in the live events where we play for each other, we get to know each other. You can ask questions, you can really grow on the spot. I've seen many guitarists who grow, develop and transform on the spot during a live session, whether that's composing a melody for the first time, improvising for the first time, understanding a new concept for the first time, sight reading in a different way, learning how to understand rhythms in a different way for the first time. I've seen it many, many times. So, and plus we also get the chance to, one of the most fun things is when we hear different members playing their newly written compositions for the first time, and we get, there's like little private airing of their new piece, and it's just very, very special. So hope to see you on the Creative Classical Guitarist. We do have this free 7-day trial, so you can jump on and join for 7 days for free, access all the resources if you like. Hope to see you there. If not, I hope to see you for the next episode. Please do like, subscribe, and leave a comment as to what topic you'd like me to cover next time. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.